Hello and welcome to Network Security Audit and Forensics, Week 1. Our topic today is the need for information system security compliance. My name is Dr. Chike, PHK. I'm the instructor and facilitator for this class. This chapter will cover the following topics and concepts: IT security assessment, IT security audit, compliance, how audits differ from assessments, importance of governance and compliance, consequences of not complying with the compliance laws. The goals of chapter 1. When you complete this chapter, you'll be able to examine the roles of IT assessment and IT auditing. You will compare the differences between an audit and an assessment and summarize compliance and explain why it is important. At the end of this chapter, you also have research assignments. IT security assessment is a subset of a larger security program within an organization. Specifically, an IT security assessment is a key activity that involves the management of risk, which is an uncertainty that might lead to a loss. The loss could be loss of employee, it could be loss of reputation, it could be the end of the company, the company going into bubbles. Information systems provide numerous benefits and efficiencies within organizations, although they come with risks. A risk-based approach to managing information security involves the following: identifying and categorizing the information and the information systems, selecting and implementing appropriate security controls, assessing the controls for effectiveness, authorizing the systems by accepting the risk based upon the selected security controls, and monitoring the security controls on a continual basis. This means that you have to identify which systems you have and categorize them based on roles or type of software or hardware. That's the only time you can now find the appropriate controls for them, and then you can go ahead and assess them for effectiveness. And there has to be a dedicated officer who could be the CISO or Chief Security Information Officer that will authorize it and accept the risk based upon the selected security controls, and then they have to be monitored. Those systems have to be monitored on continual basis. It's not a one-time thing. It's not a quarterly thing. It's continual, 365 days, 24/7. Understanding security controls. This includes implementing to safeguard the systems. Organizations must assess security controls to assess the effectiveness. Security controls must be implemented. It must also be assessed to ensure they are functioning as expected. If it is so, then are the required results based on security policy? Are you within the confines of organization's security policy? Understanding security controls involves the following: security assessment on systems should provide information such as identifying weaknesses within the controls implemented on information systems, confirming that previously identified weaknesses have been remediated or mitigated, prioritizing further decisions to mitigate risk, and providing assurance, which is a level of confidence that effective controls are in place and that the associated risks are accepted and authorized, and also providing support and planning for future budgetary requirements. Note that risk cannot be eliminated 100%. Risk can be reduced to minimum or barest minimum level. Types of security controls include physical, which is biometrics, access control cards, doors, fence, locks; procedural, which includes disaster recovery, business continuity, incident response processes; security awareness and training, and management oversight. Technical security controls include user authentication, firewalls, security policies, and antivirus implementation. IT security audit is an independent assessment of an organization's internal policies, controls, and activities. It is used to assess the presence and effectiveness of IT controls and to ensure that those controls are compliant with stated policies. It also provides reasonable assurance that organizations are compliant with applicable regulations and other industry requirements. There are 5 types of IT audits. Financial audits, which determines whether an organization's financial statement accurately and fairly represents the financial position of the organization. Compliance audits, which determines if an organization is adhering to applicable laws, regulations, and industry requirements. Operational audits, which provides a review of policies, procedures, and operational controls across different departments to ensure processes are adequate. Investigative audits, which investigate company records and processes based on suspicious activity or alleged violations. And finally, information technology audits, which address the risk exposures within IT systems and assess the controls and integrity of information systems. Scope of IT audit: organizational, which examines management control over IT programs, policies, and processes. Compliance, which ensures that specific guidelines, laws, or requirements have been met. Application involves applications that are strategic, especially those used by finance and operations such as SAP or enterprise resource management tools. Technical, which examines IT infrastructure and data communications. Then compliance. Compliance is proving conformance with policy, procedure, standard, regulation, directive, or law. Compliance can be internal or external. Internal compliance deals with organizations' ability to define its policies and follow its own rules. External compliance refers to the need or desire for an organization to follow rules and guidelines set forth by external organizations and initiatives such as HIPAA or PCI DSS. Compliance frameworks such as COVID and standards like NIST assist in interpreting how to comply with the regulations. COVID stands for Control Objectives for Information Related Technologies. Compliance is closely related to risk management and governance. It could be technical, procedural, or strategic. Risk management mitigates risk through controls by identifying, evaluating, and implementing it in order to reduce it. Compliance, on the other hand, helps risk management by verifying that the desired controls are in place. Steps for implementing compliance include interpreting the regulation and its application to the organization, identifying the gap or determining where the organization stands with the compliance made, devising a plan to close the gap, and finally, executing the plan. There are differences between audits and assessments. In audits, the report is presented as pass or fail. In assessment, there is no pass or fail grade. Rather, it presents the current state of security and necessary improvements to be made. Audit puts a blame on designated individuals or groups within the organization. Assessment does not blame. Rather, it provides a chance for improvement in order to facilitate organization's goals. In audit, there are consequences. Negative audit carries stiff regulatory or industry sanctions or penalties. In assessment, it only identifies identifies gaps to improve security operations and achieve organizational goals. Characteristics of audits. 1. To maintain separation of duties. Auditors do not involve in the auditing of processes, systems, or applications that they themselves have designed or implemented. 2. Audits are independent evaluations. 3. Audits follow a rigorous approach and are conducted according to accepted principles. But assessment is not like that. And 4. An organization typically receives some type of certification or confirmation if it passes an audit, unlike that of assessment. 5. An audit is concerned about the past results and performance, whereas an assessment considers previous and current results as well as expected performance. Importance of compliance can be put forward in 4 cases. Number 1, it increases efficiency through implementation of policies, procedures, control, and risk management. 2, it reduces risk. 3, it improves performance. 4, and it enhances flexibility. There is a case study assignment for this topic. Research the following 2 cases and summarize their rise and fall using APA format. The collapse of Enron Corporation, once the 7th largest company in the US and the largest trader of gas and electricity in the country. And the demise of WorldCom, once the 2nd largest telecommunications company in the world. So you have to do a case study report on them and find out what really happened, how did they get to rise, and how did they fall, and what contributed to their fall. This is the end of this course. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you in week 2. Bye.